Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the second episode of my podcast. Let's talk about it. And today we are reviewing slash reacting to the second episode of Batman Caped Crusade. Um, I may also put in the third episode as well. So the name of this episode, episode two. Let me first start off by saying thank you guys for joining me again. If you watched the first episode, this actually means a lot that you're checking out the second episode as well. So thank you for joining. Let's review. Let's react to the second episode of Batman Cape Crusader. This episode is called "And Be a Villain." So here we are with episode two, and it starts off with a woman. She's like being dropped off at her home, and she's being spied on clearly. And then next thing you know, she's kidnapped right before the opening credits start. All right. So the description of this episode says a glamorous movie star disappears. Batman and Detective Montoya, Detective Renee Montoya. So they find themselves tangled up in the dark web of mysteries, adventure, hunting the sound stages. Let me read that description again. So the description for this episode says a glamorous movie star disappears. Batman and Detective Renee Montoya find themselves tangled up in a dark web of mystery adventure, hunting the sound stages. In the web of a mysterious adventure, hunting the sound stages. Let's go. All right. So we start off with this episode, and it's Bruce Wayne and Detective Montoya. They're going back and forth. She has him in like a interrogation room, and she has him in there because Bruce was the last person that was seen with this actress. So Bruce is such a smooth talker. He's wearing his beige suit. I don't think we've ever seen him in a beige suit. Not that I remember since the original Batman series in the 90s, but I'm kind of loving this beige suit. It reminds me of Barack Obama when he wore that beige suit. So another thing I do enjoy about this series is how it's a year one storyline, but only because it reimagines the story and the characters instead of it being the same exact story. So nobody knows his identity, and he's trying to figure out who he can trust because Gotham is such a crooked ass city. So if his name is attached to a missing person, this can be really bad for him. This could be bad press. So he's really like playing Mr. Cool Guy. Um, like I said, he's doing his best not to attach the Wayne name to this case. And then like right before, like as he's talking, his lawyer walks in. His lawyer, Lucius Fox. And if you don't know the history of this character, he's a very trusted ally of Bruce Wayne. Like he's a big boss at Wayne Enterprises. He's an advisor. Morgan Freeman actually played him in A Dark Knight. So after Lucius comes into the room and he gets Bruce out of this situation with Renee Montoya questioning him about the missing actress, Bruce is now seen riding back to the mansion, and he tells Alfred that Montoya, like she's maybe a trusted ally because she denied his bribes. Bruce was like, "All right, listen. Like, what do I have to do? Should I donate money to one of the biggest charities out here in Gotham City for you to basically leave me the fuck alone?" you know. So she wasn't buying any of it. Um, she was actually like telling him like I'm trying to figure this out of where this lady is. You're not really a big deal to me. You're not somebody that I'm looking at as a suspect. So because of that, Bruce is like, she might be an ally. She might be an ally, and we might be able to work together to solve some of the crimes that's happening up in Gotham City. So we see a Renee, a stressed out Renee Montoya. She's puzzled because of that missing actress. So now she decides to go to the movie studio where the actress works, which is Monoscope Pictures. Now, Detective Montoya ends up questioning one of the missing starlet's co stars, Basil Carlo. So Basil is telling Montoya how he and Yvonne Francis, which is her name, were co-stars and starred in a few films together, half a dozen actually, and tells her the movie they were about to shoot next will be the first time he has seen her in months, and says, "Ooh, I heard actually that she has been running with the wrong crowd, and it could have been me, to be honest. Like me running with the wrong crowd, it couldn't be me, but I wish her the best." It's very suspicious. Then he leaves in a hurry because he doesn't want to miss his call time. That's the excuse he uses to dip on Renee Montoya. They're talking about the actress. He's kind of it's very suspicious because there's like a flashback of how much he actually is obsessed with this actress. So when he's questioned by the cops, he's like, "Yeah, I mean, we was cool. I ain't seen her in months, but I do wish her the best. Last thing I heard about her is that she was running with some shisty ass people, and I think you guys should actually look into that." So Montoya is the type of woman, she is not believing anything this reptile is saying. So she goes to talk to a secretary or like a photographer, I'm not sure, but this lady has pictures for Renee Montoya. So she's showing her some pictures of Yvonne just a week before she became missing. And you can clearly see that motherfucking reptile face as Basil Carlo in the background looking like a creep. So Montoya storms out of the this office where she was talking to like a stylist, a secretary or a photographer. So she's fed up. She storms out because Basil has her fucked up. She's about to go get his lying ass, talking about some I haven't seen her in months. Immediately, she's on the loose. Where the fuck is Basil Carlo? So she ends up at his apartment and she hears a man, she's knocking on the door and she hears a man yell. So Montoya kicks the door down and then she finds Basil fucking Carlo on the ground with a knife in his back. Damn. So she's looking around the apartment. The body is laying there, mouth cocked open with a knife in his back. And the man that actually stabbed him is actually standing outside of his window. So this man tries to escape, and before you know it, Batman appears. Sidebar: Batman ears are long as shit, but again, I don't mind. I don't mind his costume. There's been a lot of different type of depictions of his costume, and this is the second time I actually seen his ears that have looked long as hell. All right, so the mysterious man is on the run. He's running through the city. Him as Batman. Batman is always chasing somebody down on the fucking roof. So he's being chased down by Batman, and Batman almost catches him. And this man is wearing like a scarf around his face, and Batman snatches the scarf from around his face, and then like he reveals the man's face, which is like a Freddy Krueger like face, and before you know it, we see that this man is Clayface, which is known as a supervillain in the Batman universe. And then he gets away. So Batman is stunned. He just seen motherfucking Freddy Krueger. Renee Montoya is in the apartment of Basil Carlo, who's laying on the ground with a fucking knife in his back. So Clayface got away, and now we see the missing actress. She's chained to a bed, and she's being pressed by some doctor who tells her that, chill out, bro. I know that you clearly are tied up, you're scared, and you've been kidnapped. He's like, chill because you might lose some energy for your next scene. Weird. Then it reveals that she's chained to a bed that looks like a bed that is like on a movie set. So that's pretty weird. So the doctor has her in a bedroom, and a bedroom is basically a movie set. She's chained to the bed. She's looking around. She's freaked out. And the doctor is telling her, like, girl, calm down. Like, you're a movie star and you're just being prepared for your next scene. So we're back to Montoya, and Montoya is like, what the fuck? Because Basil, who she thought would be a suspect, is dead, and the actress is still missing. So Detective Gordon is like, okay, he's dead, but why would he lie? Because this is Renee Montoya. She went to Detective Gordon, and again, she told him everything that happened, and he's like, okay, if he's dead, then why would he lie about not seeing her? Um, you need to find that out. Like, why would he lie about not seeing her for months, and you find out that he actually just seen her last week, and now he's dead? So they have a little sentimental moment at Monoscope Pictures, and we have the producer, the director. He's actually the agent of Yvonne Francis, the missing actress. So he's on the phone right now, and he's pissed off because they're like pressuring him to replace her. And he's like, she's missing. Like, what do you want me to do? She's missing right now. So as he's on the phone, he's arguing. They're telling him like, we gotta film this movie. Yvonne is still missing. You need to figure this out. And in the midst of this, you hear like this evil ass laugh happening in the background. And then out of nowhere, you see like this silhouette appears, and it's motherfucking Clayface. So Clayface then shines this bright ass light on the agent, and the man is stunned to the point where he fucking the light is so bright where he's like, oh my god, oh my god, and he backs up and he falls down like on he knocks over these tanks full of liquid. So it falls on the floor, and the light that Clayface was using to shine on him, he threw it into the liquid, and the liquid electrocuted the producer. Like, this is some real ass shit. Like, this ain't for the babies. He threw the lamp down that was shining light into the liquid and electrocuted the man. So we see Detective Renee Montoya. She's still at Monoscope Pictures. She's walking around because she's trying to dig up some dirt on Yvonne Francis and Basil Carlo. So she's talking to actors, she's talking to the staff. When she finds out from the wardrobe department that Basil was actually down bad for Yvonne, like he was low key obsessed. He had a lot of feelings for her, but the feelings weren't mutual. Basil was desperate to play a love interest of Yvonne, so he took his ugly ass to a plastic surgeon, due to not having a camera pleasing face. The man was ugly. And this plastic surgeon is the same man who had Yvonne chained up earlier in the episode. So in this flashback of Basil speaking with the plastic surgeon, the plastic surgeon name is Jack Hillman. Hillman. Jack Hillman. So he's also a former makeup artist that just gives scammer. So Basil is yelling at Hillman. He's telling the man, like, bitch, give me my money or get beat the fuck down. And Jack says, you are as stupid as ugly, which is the meanest thing ever. And at that moment, Basil should have slapped his ass. But Jack Hillman, he got the first hit. So he is punching Basil ass. So we're back at Monoscope Pictures, and we're on set of the movie that is supposed to star Yvonne Francis, the missing actress, and the director of the movie. He's like in a like he's isolated right now from the rest of the crew on the movie set. When Clayface appears, and Clayface is basically about to kill this director of the movie because he's like, "Bitch, fuck you! You don't want to put me in your movie because you know I'm ugly. You know I struggle with being fucking ugly." And before he can like actually get the director, Batman shows up and stops Clayface from actually murdering this director. He tells the director like, "Get the fuck out of here." So now again, we have Batman chasing after Clayface yet again after he just tried to kill this film director. They end up sword fighting. So they're on it like it's literally it's a movie studio, and they end up on a set of what looks like a it looks like fucking Rapunzel's castle. So they're in the castle, they're fighting. It's given like Games of Thrones with Batman and um what's that one movie with the man and he was wearing half a mask? The Phantom of the Opera. So it's Batman and the Phantom of the Opera, and they're sword fighting. They're fencing. And it's given very like classic 1940 30s, I don't know, black and white film. I know this is a reference actually from a film that's in black and white and where there two of the characters are sword fighting. It looks really cool. It's a really dope scene. Um so as they're fighting with the swords, Clayface somehow gets away again, and Batman ends up under a studio stage where he finds two dead bodies. One being the body of that agent that was on the phone earlier in the episode that Clayface shined the light on and dropped the lamp into the liquid, which electrocuted him. And the other is an actor that not Doctor Detective Montoya interviewed earlier when she was trying to find out more information on Basil and Yvonne. So Montoya is now calling for backup, and her only backup are the quirky cops in Gotham City, which is Bullock and Flash, who respond to Montoya. Then they get back to eating. Like they basically was playing in her face. They're like, "Yeah, we'll be there. We're on our way. We're leaving." But they just continued eating their food. They were at like an In and Out or some shit in Gotham City. At this point, due to Renee Montoya's research at the studio and talking to the actors, the wardrobe staff, and like front desk receptionists, she's kind of put two and two, one plus one equals two. Um, that Jack Hillman, the plastic surgeon that Basil went to help him get his face together, is actually the suspect and might be the murderer of Basil Carlo. So we see Montoya is now at the front door of Jack Hillman, where she tells him she's invited in. She doesn't actually bust in. She's invited in, and she tells him like, you know, Basil has been murdered, and he reacts as if it's the first time he's hearing the news. So he's devastated. He's like, "Oh my god, not Basil Carlo, the actor. That's crazy." And then the scene cuts to Batman, where he's at a morgue and he's looking at Basil's cold dead body laying on the table. And for whatever reason, Batman starts to like poke and pick at Basil's face. So he's picking at his face, and then Basil's cheek kind of like deforms and it mushes like slime, like clay. And his reaction immediately is like, wait a minute, bitch, this is not Basil. Now we're back with Montoya and Jack Hillman. And she's questioning him because at this point now it's like obvious that She knows he has some problems with Basil, and like he is a is super suspicious of like Basil's dead, you're alive, you're shocked, y'all have problems. What the hell? So they end up in a tussle. She hits him because she goes, we can do, she says some cliche shit like, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. And this motherfucker chooses the hard way. So they're tussling. They're fighting. She hits him and he knocks her ass over the head, like in the front of her head with like a metal pipe or something. Knocks her out. The next scene, Montoya is gaining consciousness and she's tied to a chair. And then she's being approached by Clayface, Freddy Krueger, Dawn of the Dead looking ass. And now, so Clayface revealed himself as Clayface. Jack Hillman was actually Clayface. Now he has Montoya tied down to a chair. So he's immediately confessing his part in Yvonne being missing. He tells Montoya how he had work done on his face so that he can become a love interest to Yvonne, the missing actress. So we get a flashback of Yvonne and Basil Carlo after he got the work done by Jack Hillman, the plastic surgeon. He's approaching Yvonne and he's like, "Look at me, I got my plastic surgery. Do you like me? You know, you said I was a cool guy. You know, I got my work done. I'm not ugly no more." And Yvonne is disgusted because she's like, "What the fuck? You got all this work done and I'm still not interested." And I guess because of her rejection to his plastic surgery, somehow his the side of his face started to melt like a candle. And because his face could do that, he basically could change his face to whatever he wanted it to look like. So looking at Freddy Krueger, aka Clayface, in the face, Montoya is singing to herself, like, wait a minute. She realizes, like, bitch, that was you. That was you at the studio. And Clayface says, yeah, bitch, that was that body that you found at my apartment. Yeah, yeah. That was Jack Hillman. Wait, there's more. Then there's like a curtain or something. Remember, they're still on like everything looks like a movie set. There's studio lights, um, microphone booms or whatever you call those sticks with the microphones all over the place. So he then reveals that Yvonne is actually in the room, and there's a curtain. There's a table behind the wall. She's laying on a table behind a wall, chained to it. So now Clayface is feeling himself. He's thinking to himself, the plan is going into his direction. Everything is working out for him. He believes, like, nobody knows that he's the real Basil Carlo. He's having his moment and he's telling Montoya, he's telling her, like, I'm about to play the biggest role of my career. I'm about to be the villain. This is perfect casting. This is the perfect role for me. Like, you bitches are fucking eating it. Now, as Yvonne, the actress that's missing, like, as I've been saying, she's laying on the table. And in the middle of his speech, she interrupts him and she goes, like, oh, please. Like, you're not giving. I don't believe this character. You're relying on that horrible ass makeup. Give it up, delicious. You look like a man. And all that does is pisses Clayface off. Immediately he's like, bitch, I'll give you a performance. You want to see a bitch go down the slide? And then he brings out like this huge blade. And this blade is swinging above Yvonne. And it's getting like lower, like the shit is about to slice her in half. So as this is happening, Batman ass crashes from the ceiling and he manages to throw one of his batarangs um, to free Montoya. He throws it, and it cuts the rope that has her tied to the back of that chair. And Batman and Clayface are in another battle, while Montoya is now untying Yvonne from her chains. Batman, let me say this: Batman literally beats the fuck out of Clayface. His face is made out of clay, so it made Batman's punches and the beating look worse. Like he looked smashed. He looked like uh, I don't know, this candy that's made out of clay, as if it melted. And after all of that, Batman is still like, "Who is it?" He had that man looking like a bad arts and craft project. So as this is happening, Montoya's backup from fucking 35 hours ago finally show up. And who's the backup? It's Detective Bullock and Flash. So they pop up and are like, "Oh my god, we rushed as fast as we could." But Batman gets away, and the backup is arresting Clayface. They're helping Yvonne Francis, and Montoya finds like a button from a shirt or something, and she immediately realizes that it's a secret listening device that Batman left behind. And this is where the episode ends. The episode ends Before the episode ends, Montoya says to Batman, speaking into that little button, I think he's already at the Batcave or on his way back to the Batcave. And Montoya says into the button, "I know you're still listening. We're not done. You and me." And that's the end of the episode. Credits start. The ending credits begin, and it ends. So how I feel about this episode, so I think Montoya and Batman are obviously going to continue to run into each other, and at some point she'll find out that he's Bruce Wayne, and that's pretty much what I suspect in the future. I think Batman is already more dependable than her backup, Bullock and Flash, shitty ass, and by episode two, I'm still tuned in. I'm enjoying the villain origin stories. I love Clayface. Well, I don't necessarily love him, but I like the story of like an old Hollywood actress and her ugly ass co-star who's desperate to be her love interest, gets plastic surgery. It doesn't go his way, so he kidnaps her and basically tortures her, you know. And Batman comes and saves the day. Um, that's the end of it. Stay tuned. Keep listening. I really appreciate you guys for staying tuned with episode two. The next episode that I'm about to review is episode three, and this episode is called "Kiss of the Catwoman." And I'm already excited. Kiss of the Catwoman, are you fucking serious? Again, stay tuned. Let's get into that.